All right, here we go. Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, joins us. Sikkim 365 Radio. So, Mack, you get a letter, I guess. I don't know how that works, that you have been fined $25,000. Was it for storming the field or because of kind of how it became a little chaotic there before the game was over?
Yeah, I think it's more about the latter, and certainly, unique, a little bit unusual because, you thought time was gonna expire and in the timeout to call the field goal, which, obviously that's been well chronicled. So I think it was more about that, the initial storming, and then having to clear everybody off. And by the way, just, thank you to our fans and our students for clearing the field in such a expeditious manner. I'm sitting there going, holy smokes, this is going to be 10, 15 minutes to try to get everybody off. And we certainly were able to do that very, very quickly. But then the second, everyone coming onto the field. So I think it was more about just, the totality of all of that. And, so we'll move on.
Is the Big 12 tiebreaker something you guys go through and talk about before games? Like before you and David, the athletic department can have a top-down thing that's why you kicked the field goal?
It's not anything that, we sit there and intentionally, talk about. We're certainly aware of it. And, it's certainly discussed amongst athletic directors, pre-season, and then, I passed that information on to Coach and Dennis Polian. So we're cognizant of it. We're aware of it, and it played a role in that decision on Saturday. And Coach, and myself and our staff and players have great respect for Oklahoma and their program, and so. It was about doing what was best for our program. And, all of a sudden, fast forward 2 weeks from now, and, that's what it comes down to. And we don't kick the field goal. How are we explaining that? And so, again, we were cognizant of it and made the decision that was best for our program.
I was curious because of the write-up from Bob Bowlesby, or at least the statement about equipment that was damaged. Were those bleachers? Were those like machines? Were those jugs guns? What could that have been?
Yeah, I'm not sure to be really candid with you. We've received, no confirmation of what was damaged. So hopefully that's forthcoming. I can tell you on our video, we didn't see that. But that's what we've been told. And so, we trust the conference office. We trust, Oklahoma, and we're moving on.
All right. As well that Baylor football fans have PTSD when it comes to coaching changes, and they've been through quite a bit the last decade. Now you have somebody. You got to stop hiring people, Mack, that other people want so quickly, by the way, and have success. But Dave Aranda's name's out there. That's not a surprise. You know that. Your ears to the ground. You understand that business. You hear about, well, why don't give him an extension now? Do you have kick-in, tie-in, something that kicks in triggers if he continues to have this success, if they continue to win this year, Big 12 championship game, winning the title, whatever? How does that work, if you don't mind letting me know? I know you won't get too much into personnel contracts.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's certainly some mechanisms within the contract. If you do, are you ascertain, achieve certain elements, i.e., playing a Big 12 championship game, i.e., win the Big 12 championship game, and and there's two components to it, right? There's one time, incentives, and then there's some components. We get creative here, and we'll do some things that are permanent, and so they will then last through the remainder of the contract. But I think more important than all of that. And I understand and get that people, because they can't see it and they can't be part of it, are the conversations that Coach Aranda and I have throughout the year. And it's not, I don't work this way. It's not through agents. It's Coach Aranda and I directly. He doesn't work that way. And so, we've certainly, I don't know that I can, recall and count them, but we've had, multiple conversations about this program, the future of it, about him, the future for him and his family, about assistant coaches, their future, and doing all we can to be proactive and to make sure that as best we can, we keep what we think is something really, really special together and consistent and moving forward. And I felt like we did that with Matt. And at some point in time, you reach a point where that person has another dream to go do something else. But Coach has been, we've had some really, candid, honest conversations. All of them are that we have, and I know he appreciates that. I appreciate it, and I know that he wants to be here, and there's a lot more. There's a lot more to do with this football program, and for me personally, it was great to beat Oklahoma because of what they've been, who they are, ranked number 8 coming in. But that's just one piece of it. That certainly doesn't give me satisfaction like we've arrived and we're there and we're at the top of the mountain. We're far from the top of the mountain, and we're going to continue to climb and get better and work hard. And again, I think this football program has a great future with Coach Aranda leading the way.
I know that there was another job, in fact, today with Virginia Tech and Justin Fuente. That job came down, but it does, because of LSU and Southern Cal with his connections to where he was and where he's from, does that make this a little bit more something that you're more aware of or not?
I guess, it's a good question. It's an interesting question, but, I don't know that, like, if we're doing our job, if I'm doing my job, it shouldn't matter whether it's LSU or somebody else. Because what we should be focused on, right, is us, not those programs, but focused on us and our future and stability and investing in it and continuing as best we can to ensure that it moves forward. And so that's really our approach. That's my approach. And so we're gonna continue. Coach and I are going to continue to talk about the future of the program and his future and our assistants' future and how we continue to make sure that our program continues to grow nationally and continues to be even at a higher level when we think about national relevancy.
Mack, you guys have won some big games since your arrival across all sports, but also in football. You've also had some down moments as well, obviously, but just everything that went into play on Saturday, from the opponent and the excitement of the opponent, the bounce back by your football team after a tough week, the atmosphere, the game itself. I mean, just it's kind of cliche to ask, like, where does that rank all time for you? But in a roundabout way, I mean, how special of a moment was Saturday, seeing the atmosphere and seeing the result itself? And is that one of the better, days, I guess, you've had as far as the football program since you arrived?
Yeah, Craig, it's a great question, and personally, I struggle. I struggle with it. It's just this inner struggle for me about trying to enjoy it and where to rank it versus we haven't arrived yet, and there's more work to do, and that's a constant inner battle for me. And I may just be someone that's just sick and needs help. I don't know, and so it's something that when I try to allow myself and really not for me but for all of the people that have worked so hard, because that's who we're so happy for. But it was a special day. When you think about just the beauty of the day, first of all, you couldn't have asked for a better day. And then, Fox big noon kickoff. I thought that was tremendous. They were so excited to be here and so thankful and grateful. And, they were, just terrific to work with, every single one of them. And, Scott Drew's segment, holy cow, grand slam, hit it out of the park. You couldn't ask for any better person, and just the message, and Chip and Joanna and all of that, right? And then the atmosphere within McLean and how loud it was, and just it being packed, and even the flyover, and just the totality of everything. And then obviously certainly the outcome of the game, and the outcome of the game is huge because of your opponent, because of who you beat, and they've been in the playoffs. They're coming 8th in 6 straight Big 12 championships, and so much respect for that program. So man, it was a pretty dang special day. And if I had to rank it, and to answer your question, it absolutely has to be, probably top 5 in my career when you think about just the totality of the entire day.
Yeah, Mack, you've kind of seen a build from BYU and then Texas, and then now it feels like the fans that groundswell is coming of just people throwing their arms around it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it certainly feels like we've got some momentum. And hey, you're only look. We felt like we had momentum going into the TCU game, so you're only as good as your last game, right? And so we've got another really tough opponent who's playing, their best football of the season, here on Saturday versus Kansas State. But we certainly have some momentum, and again, I'm happy for Coach Aranda and our staff, and our administrative staff, all of them that worked so hard to pull off Saturday, and all of the multiple events and everything they were juggling. And so and then how do we ensure, and here's the biggest question, and this is what we talked about yesterday in our executive team meeting, is how do we ensure that we remain humble, that we continue to have humility, that we continue to press on growing and learning and getting better. And then, quite frankly, knowing and understanding and believing, for his glory, and not with our words, but with our actions. And so, we've got a lot more to do, and I'm excited about. Certainly, I'm excited about the journey we're on, and I'm excited about the journey ahead of us.
I asked you this last week about, and obviously Kansas State is all that matters for the football program, but there is a pending game coming in 2 weeks with Texas Tech, and you have a former coach who's now their future head coach. Have you spoken yet to Kirby Hocutt about what role or what might happen that day with Joey McGuire?
We haven't had an opportunity to have that conversation yet, and again, I've got great respect for Kirby, and we'll have a conversation. We've had some conversation about other things, and staffing and recruits and all of that stuff, and there'll be a time and place for that, and it hasn't happened yet, but again, Kirby is a person of great integrity and certainly love Joey McGuire, and he's a person of great integrity. So we'll be good, and we've got to worry about, put all of our energy and focus into what I mentioned earlier, just a really, really good Kansas State football team.
Has there been any disruption whatsoever, Mack, when it comes to when somebody leaves like that and you still have games to play, and a coach that might be on your staff might be looking elsewhere as well? When it comes to joining Joey at Tech or Lubbock, is there any concern about that? Any kind of, distraction in that way?
I think one, again, we've talked about this. What happened is unprecedented. I can't remember when something like this has happened, previously, with the 3 games at the time, 3 games still remaining to be played. And so I think, our message, coach's message to everyone, my message has been, there'll be a time and place for that, but the time and place ain't with 3 games left, ain't with 2 games left, right? We owe it to our young men in that locker room. We owe it to each other that's where our focus and our energy is, and needs to remain until the appropriate time. And I think everybody knows and gets that and understands that.
So, did you ever get claustrophobic in that crowd at midfield when they rushed the field? Were you?
I never did. So it was, seriously, and I get the issue of rushing the field. And look, we want to make sure and ensure that we keep our visiting team, safe, and the officials, absolutely. But, that's also what makes college football special. The joy, the excitement, the rushing on the field, the fellowship. And so, I don't know, brought a smile to my face to see our students, our fans, out on that field celebrating with our young men. And I get certainly, again, the rules, et cetera. And we'll move on. And I thought that was a good moment, for Baylor football.
Mack, thank you. Appreciate your time as always every week.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Mack Rhoades, Baylor's Director of Athletics, on many things, from the win against Oklahoma, where it is in his list of favorite moments, and how that kind of goes about his career since he's been the AD at Baylor and elsewhere as well. Dave Aranda and his popularity among the fine with the Big 12, and running onto the field and enjoying that moment. When we come back, the 4 o'clock hour, Craig Smoak off the